Your life had not been perfect. Since childhood, you felt like you were running every day. Be it from day-to-day stress or your own emotions. You knew this was unhealthy, but there seemed to be no chance of fixing this. Even extensive therapy only led to your diagnosis and nothing else. On top of that, as coping mechanism, you had mentally devolved back into a child. This created a downward spiral, as the wider public simply could not accept that. You were an adult. You were expected to act like one. Your issues didn't matter. So when you got the chance to leave everything behind, to live on a secluded island, that was a chance you instantly took. The anticipation alone had kept you up for a handful of days, before finally the moment of truth had come. But you were already too tired. It really was your own fault. Yet somehow you still managed to get on that plane. Sadly, by the time it landed near the island's docks, you were fully asleep. The owner of the island, a handsome raccoon man, approached your sleeping form. He sighed. His name was Tom Nook, and he had planned a special celebration that the final member of his island adventure had finally arrived. Yet he did not have the heart to wake you up. So with his very first night, he simply opted to gently lift you out of the plane and carry you to his tent. The other two arrivals and his two adoptive sons already had collected some sticks and peaches for the party, so it wasn't as if the entire night was ruined by your sleepiness. He laid you down on top of a soft sleeping bag before returning to the others. When the morning light shined in through the thin, synthetic fabric of the tent, you slowly awoke, confused by your surroundings. But you weren't sleep-drunk enough to not make the connection that you were now on the secluded island retreat. You looked around yourself. The tent you were inside of was big, and fit a few essential items inside. 2 chairs, a camping table, a small pile of bags, and a large camping bed where 3 figures were resting. You blinked. Those were the Tanukis that set up the island retreat. You sighed in relief. At least you awoke next to people you knew. The next few days were strange. It began with you choosing a spot for your future house. Until it was constructed, you'd live in a small, rented tent from Tom. You spent this time running around, cleaning the island from nature's debris, socializing with the other 2 islanders, a smart cat named Raymond, who came to the island for inspiration. Also, his job allowed for home office, so there really wasn't anything rooting him down to his old apartment. The other inhabitant was an absolutely adorable young hamster girl called Apple. Her reason for coming here was simply because her parents were too annoyed by her strange behavior that they just sent her away. But she was, as she put it, totes fine with that. In a way, these few days were like your life back home, just focus on different activities. But it was different in a good way. You didn't feel on edge. And despite your body hurting every night from the constant running and manual labor, you closed your eyes with a smile every time. A huge reason for that was the Tanuki Tom. He was so loving, so caring. You were not used to that. At first it felt alien, and your cautious nature made it difficult to accept any praise he was giving you. But he was giving you praise. Quickly, your daily goal became seeing him smile at you just once for doing a good job. It wasn't devotion, of course. It was love. You've wrestled with these feelings until the day your house had been finished. A cozy little cottage with a pink roof. You admired the fruits of your labor before looking over at the raccoon. He was smiling at you. "What now?" you asked excitedly. He thought for a moment. That was a noise he often did when he didn't have any immediate answer. "Well, the cleaning up is done. Raymond and Apple have their homes. The boys have their shop. And thanks to our help, we even set up a museum and an office for me and my secretary Isabel." You bit your lower lip. "I guess, for now, do what you want." That shocked you. Why did it shock you? You exhaled and then forced a smile. "Nice. You never were in a situation like this. Sure, this is why you came here, to hear this, do what you want. But..." Tom tilted his head. "You seem sad. Did I say something wrong?" You shook your head and looked away. "No, I'm fine." He took a step closer. "What's wrong, little pumpkin?" Quietly you stood there, unsure of what to say. I want to keep working for you." Tom chuckled. "It wasn't the point of this to not work anymore." You turned around and looked into his kind eyes. "I love you." Tom felt his eyes widen, more out of reflex than anything else. "Well, I love you too, pumpkin." Sheepishly he closed his eyes and smiled to hide the wealth of emotions that were firing up inside him. "No, not like that," you said. He kept his eyes closed, but his heart began to beat faster. "More than that," you said. "All this time, I wanted to make you proud. I wanted you to love me the same way I do." He sighed and your heart stopped for a moment. "I understand, but there are a few issues with your wish." His tone was serious but not lecturing. "For one, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're in your very early 20s, right?" You nodded. "I'm in my mid-40s. I'm too old. You're better off with someone your age." You were relieved that he understood what you meant, yet still his words stung. "Besides, as of right now, you are a business partner, and I'd hate to lose that." Dejected, your shoulders slumped. He scratched the back of his head. "Yet, there are indeed a few positives that we could gather from this. Hence why I'm so unsure, and I mostly just want you to understand that this topic is very complex." You huffed. "I'm not a child," you said defensively, even though you still felt like one. He smiled. "I know why you came onto this island." You blinked but didn't reply. "And I understand what you see in me. and what you want from me. And also I can see why you think I can give you those things. He smiled, the action alone hurting him. In truth, Tom right now wanted nothing more than to embrace you. For one, while I understand your Nintendos and your Game Boys, I completely lack any understanding of the internet. It's thanks to the boys that I can actually work with it. You fidgeted. There are other things about me, but you're telling me these things in hope that I say no. Internally he shook his head. What he wanted to say was, no, I'm telling you these things so you know what you may will get yourself into. But what he actually said was, I'm not sure. I want you to hold me. You said, not giving him a chance to create another argument. He exhaled in response. I want you to tell me that you're proud of me. I want you to kiss me. And I want to wake up next to you. Tom didn't reply with words. The raccoon simply took a step forward. He was now so close you could feel the heat radiating off of him. His shallow breaths tickled over your head as he towered over you. And then his big, long arms wrapped around you. Tom's body was fluffy, and he was a bit on the chubbier side of things. So I felt hot, yet also so squishy and soft. Your hands burrowed into his flesh. That tickles, he chuckled. After a minute, you retreated one of them and gently took his left wrist, guiding his hand further down to your butt. Once in position, you purred. Tom huffed one last time before giving in to his instincts as he squeezed your soft cheek with his hand. A pleasant moan escaped you at the slight pain. You could feel his heartbeat, despite all the fur and his Hawaiian shirt. Feeling good that he was enjoying this just as much as you did. I'm sorry you had such a hard life, he said eventually. But I will do my best to mend your pain, for as long as you want me. Tom retreated from his bear hug for a moment to look into your eyes. Just do me one favor. You nodded. If you really want a relationship with me, don't call me Daddy, okay? You chuckled loudly. I promise I won't, you said as you once again threw yourself at him. But only if you keep calling me Pumpkin. He sighed. I can do that. Then you slowly pushed him towards your house. Let's celebrate my finished house. Properly. Once again, Tom Nook huffed. Don't start complaining if I break your bed. And with those words, the two of you vanished inside your home.